Hi everyone, my name is Rebecca and this is my YouTube channel, Rebecca's Wild Side. And today I'm filming my first ever knitting podcast. So my plan for this podcast is just your typical knitting podcast, really. I will start off with some finished objects and then move on to my whips. And then sometimes, today including, I will have some acquisitions to show you. Since this is my first podcast, I will be showing you finished objects from the last month, maybe month and a half, just because I had to pick a time frame because I didn't have a previous podcast. And the next one will be all my finished objects since the previous podcast. I'll start off with a tiny bit about myself and my knitting journey. I started knitting as a child. I could knit and purl. I then moved on to crochet as a teenager. And then January this year, so January 2023, I decided how to knit garments and knit properly and learn increases and decreases and all sorts of different techniques and stitch patterns. So it's been 10 months and I've made a few pieces. I'm not wearing any knitwear today. Although it's October, it's very hot here in the south of England. So it was a bit hot for some knitwear, but hopefully as we get into the colder months, I'll be able to show off some of my finished objects. I do apologise if there is a bit of ambient noise and some echoing. This is my current space I've decided to film in, and it's quite an open space with lots of hard surfaces, so there might be an echo, but I am wearing a microphone to try and limit that for you. So yeah, this is my knitting corner right now. It's just really like a half empty bookcase. I have recently moved and yeah, it's in my hallway. I do hope to create myself a little craft room with some cozy vibes in the future. So, and I would love to have my stash on show. But for now, it's just not an option. So I will start with my finished objects. So my first finished object is this. I'll give you a nice close-up of the colour. This object here, oh, I've gone very orange. I apologise, after I just did that close-up, my camera settings went all weird and I became very orange. So I've just edited that out. Yes, so this is a pattern by Petite Knit. It's a complicated one. This is the Northland sweater. It looks nothing like Petite Knit's Northland sweater. It has short sleeves and it is cropped and it is completely off gauge. It is very rare that I create a finished object that looks exactly like the original pattern. I make a lot of modifications in my work. I don't know why. I think it's just part of my personality to want to do my own thing. But yes, this is it. I am very, very happy with it. This is knit in Drops Air, colour number 41, Sweet Orchid. I think it's one of the newer colours. This yarn is 75% alpaca, 28% polyamide and 7% wool. So it's not a plastic-free garment or acrylic-free garment, but it's mostly alpaca and wool. It's a blown yarn, so maybe you could see in the close-up there. The stitches are a little bumpy. They're not the most uniform, neat stitches, but it has its own personality. I used the shoulder construction, or I used the whole, actually I used the complete construction from Petite Knit's Northland sweater pattern. I did a 1x1 rib for the neckline. Come on. Gosh, I always see podcasters doing this. I'm like, why? There you go. So it's a 1x1 ribbed neckline. I've gone orange again. And it's just finished with 4 setup rows of tubular bind off and then like a Kitchener stitch tubular bind off. I did the same, almost exactly the same for the bottom and almost exactly the same for the sleeves. I just did 4 rows to make the short sleeved. It's like a cap sleeve. It's very pretty, fits me lovely. I did knit it in the smallest size, or I cast on the number of stitches for the smallest size in that pattern. It did grow quite a bit, but it is still smaller than I think the original smallest size for the Northland sweater. So just to keep that in mind. I think the original pattern is knit on larger needles. I knit this on 4mm needles. The recommended needle for this yarn is a 5mm needle, but my knitting's quite loose at the moment. I think it's because I've switched from being an English style knitter to a continental style knitter. But yes, that is my first finished object. So my second finished object is these little fingerless mitts. These are pretty much a self-drafted pattern. I will pop them on for you. They are knit in a combination of drops Baby Merino and drops Kid Silk. I really like this combination for these fingerless mittens. They knit up with a really nice like gauge. I knit these on 3mm needles. I haven't got the labels for the colours, but I'm almost positive that both colours are in sage green. The Baby Merino is 100% merino, and the drops Kid Silk is 75% mohair, 25% silk. These are for my mum. I knit a jumper in a really similar combination of yarn, same colour, and she liked it a lot, so I of course made her a pair of mittens for the colder weather which is coming our way. So I have used a German twisted cast on and done a 1x1 twisted rib. I actually did 10 rows of twisted rib. I then did 15 rows of stockinette before starting the gusset increase. And yeah, just split the thumb, and it is finished with a purl row, a knit row, a purl row, and then cast off. Those are my green mittens for my mum. Now, my third finished object, I'm a bit sad because I have turned the house upside down. I only finished these maybe 3 weeks ago, and I can't find them anywhere. But I have an example of what they are. So they are the mittens that I've just shown, almost identical mittens, but in this combination. So this is a little cowl I made a few months ago. I made matching mittens recently, and they are knit up in a really fun yarn. It's a hedgehog fibres hand-dyed yarn in the colour Bandit, which I think is now discontinued. I think you can get it dyed to order. I've got it caked up somewhere actually. This is it caked up. I have quite a bit left over, as you can see. It's this beautiful multicoloured yarn. I don't really know what to call it because it's got pastels in it, but it's also got some really bright reds, a bit of black in there. It's a really beautiful yarn. So yes, I think it is now discontinued because I went online to try and find it, and I also got it on a trip to Copenhagen, and it was in the discount bin, and there was only one skein of it. So I bought 100 grams of that, and I have held it with the Sandnes Garn Tin Silk Mohair in colour 1012. It's just a off-white mohair. I really like holding hand-dyed yarns and variegated yarns and speckled yarns with any colour mohair really, but a cream mohair with bright colours. I think it tones it down a little bit and makes it really wearable. So I have those mittens as well. If I find them, I will show them to you in the next podcast. I haven't quite bought into the idea of making garments yet with hand-dyed yarn. Usually they're variegated or quite loud, and at the moment that's just not 100% my style. So I'm just sticking to accessories at the moment. And also I don't like buying huge quantities of hand-dyed yarn because, well, obviously it's quite expensive and there could be so much variation between different skeins. So that is the last of my finished objects. I will now move on to my whips. I will start with my largest project on the needles at the moment. I think I could say it's almost finished, so this is exciting. This is another pattern by Petite Knit, which is heavily modified by me again. I did say it would be a common theme, but I am loving it. So this is, I'll give you a quick peek of the shoulder construction, and if you can guess, I don't know how well you know your Petite Knits, but this is a poppy tee. Obviously, it's not a t-shirt, it is a long sleeved sweater. Jumper. So that's my poppy jumper. Before getting into all the design details of it, I will tell you what I've knitted up in. There is a lot of drops in this video, as you will see. They had a huge sale. I did a huge haul, and that is why, it's not all, I'm not showing all drops, but it is mainly drops yarn. This is knit up in, again, drops Baby Merino and drops Kid Silk. I just love this combination. I am holding one strand of drops Baby Merino in the colour 23 with one strand of drops Kid Silk in the colour 20. I have to hide behind the yarn. So it's a beautiful combination. They match almost perfectly, and I just love the stitch definition. This is unblocked, obviously. Well, it isn't obvious, but this is unblocked, and it is the most beautiful stitch definition, in my opinion. The poppy tee has a really interesting shoulder construction. It's been really, really fun to work on. I've mainly done raglans in the past. I've done one dropped shoulder jumper. I don't know if it's the way I did it or if it was the gauge, but I don't love that construction. I do much prefer a raglan. Now, on top of that, I love this construction. It just fits so beautifully. It comes right to just over the shoulder and then down. If you would like a really good explanation of this construction, I would head over to Amy at NE Knits, because she knitted up a few months ago now, and she explains the construction really well. I'm not that advanced. So yes, I've knitted in the smallest size. I'm knitting it on 3.5mm needles, which I think is the correct needle size for this pattern. And I'm currently really happy with the fit. It's a tiny bit tight, but I know with a good blocking, it will open up and loosen up and be really pretty. I've done a folded neckline. I don't know if this is the correct, I'm sure I think this might be the correct collar for this project, but it is so beautiful. I have done standard 1x1 rib here. I've done a standard 1x1 rib, and then this part is beautiful. This is how it folds in. I think that's stunning. I love that when you hold it up like this with the short rows. You can't really see it here, but how beautiful this is. So the sleeves. So the original pattern is probably actually similar to what I'm wearing. In the pattern, Petite Knit does one decrease, and then I think she does a purl and a folded edge. I did that one decrease, and then I just continued going. I did no decreases on these sleeves. They were already not loose, so I thought, okay, let's just keep them going. And they have created a beautiful, almost bell shape slightly. When it hangs off my arm. They are beautiful. And then just the little finishing detail here. I think I was inspired by the mittens that I've been working on recently. Try and find a good. There you go. What I have done there is just a purl row, 3 knit rows, another purl row, another 3 knit rows, a purl row, and then cast off knitwise. I'm hoping, currently they are about this long. I'm hoping with blocking, they will come to about here. But we shall see. I was considering blocking before I finished, just to see the sleeves, but even if they don't grow, which I'm sure they will grow a little bit, but even if they don't grow from here, they're manageable. They don't look odd. And yes, I'm just finishing the body now. I had to order extra yarn for this garment. Luckily I could still get the same dye lot. But now I think I've over-ordered yarn. So I've just got to decide how long I would like to make it without it looking odd or even like a dress. So I usually make most of my garments almost cropped. I do like that look. But this is going to be full length. I've got the yarn. I don't like having loads of yarn left over after a project. So I'm just going to keep going until I feel like I like the length. I think I might make this lot like to the top of my hips and do about 2.5 inches of ribbing. So it comes down to the top of my thighs maybe. We will see. Hopefully, well, I've got to finish this. It will be a finished garment in the next podcast. You can find out then. I'm going to finish it. At the moment, I haven't fully decided, but I think that I want to finish it similar to how I finished the sleeves. I did say ribbing a minute ago, but I think I'm not going to do that. I guess I'll see how I feel about it, although I do really love the folded ribbing. I might do that. I haven't decided yet. I don't think about the future. I just do what I feel. Feels right. And it is at the bottom, so if I don't like it, I can always rip it back and do it. But yes, that is my poppy tee sweater with long sleeves. I think because it's knit on 3.5mm needles, it is taking a bit longer than usual for me. But I feel like it's so worth it. And I'm really enjoying the process on this one. I'm usually one of those people, I start something and I just want to get it done. But this I'm enjoying. I think just because the stitch definition is so, I don't know what the word is, so satisfying, that I'm really enjoying knitting on it. And I don't find the drops combination scratchy. You know, it's not, I don't know if I choose to wear it next to skin. I'd probably wear like a body underneath or something, but I could wear it next to skin. I know a lot of people have an issue with drops. It is really affordable. I ordered it all in the sale. There was a huge drop sale, as I mentioned. They always have big sales. My mum really wants that sweater. She says she loves the colour and she thinks the colour would look better on her than it would on me. But I said no. I said I'm keeping that one, but I might make another one. And I don't really want to make it in the same colour, but I might have to end up making it in the same colour for my mum. But yeah, we'll see. Future projects, who knows? Okay, that's the big one, done. Next whip. So this has been on the needles for a very long time, but it's itty bitty. So tiny. This is a little self-drafted baby jumper. I don't have a baby to knit this for, but I do have a nephew. He's a bit too big for this now. I've got a 3.5-week-old niece, so I think when she gets a bit bigger, maybe she could look super sweet in this. So as I mentioned, this garment was self-drafted. It's a very simple top-down raglan. I just kind of guessed the stitch count, the cast on number. I bought the Moby slipover recipe from Petite Knit, and she had a double moss stitch in there. So I got really inspired and decided I wanted to incorporate that into something. So as you can see, here I've done the sleeves in a double moss stitch. I've continued it down the side. I need to get out of this. Continued it down the side. I don't know how well you can see that. And then I've actually used it for the ribbing because I worked out, well, it wouldn't roll. So there it is for the ribbing. And it's really simple, really. I've just done double moss stitch, stockinette body. The neckline is really cute. It's a folded neckline. This time I have done twisted rib for the neckline. This is done slightly differently to the way I did my folded neckline on my poppy jumper. The way I've done this one is similar to the Oslo hat. So I've started on the collar and then I have knit the live stitches and the cast on edge together, whereas the poppy jumper I picked up 4 stitches for the collar, knit them, and then I've cast off and then I've sewn it down. Really cute. I've only done one sleeve. No, I haven't even done one sleeve. I've started one of the sleeves. This has been on the back burner. I don't know why, because it's so tiny. I could probably finish this in less than 2 days, so I need to get it done. The most interesting thing, in my opinion, about this garment is the yarn I have used. I have used a yarn that I have never heard anybody use before. There is a shop all around Europe. I think they are all in Europe. There's one in the UK. And it is called, I'm going to butcher this, it's called Søstrene Grens. I think it translates to the Green Sisters. It is a Danish company. And if I was to describe the shop to you, I would describe it as a very aesthetically pleasing experience. It's a beautiful shop that sells little trinkets, but also homeware, different things like that. But these are their yarns that they do. So the main yarn I have used, see if I can hide behind it. This is their wool blend. It is 70% wool, 30% bamboo. I don't know if the brand have color names. This is their light blue. They're rather limited in the yarns that they do, but they're pretty affordable. I think it's about £4 something for one ball, £5 for their other ball, which for me, I have picked I think they call this their mohair blend. I'm almost positive this doesn't have any silk in it. I think this is mohair and some sort of acrylic polyester, something in there. But yes, the colours I really like together. They create that mild almost effect because they're not a perfect match. And they do some really fun ombre mohairs as well. So if you have a shop near you, I recommend you go and check it out. They're not the softest yarns. They're not the highest quality yarns. I've decided to make this garment because in my head, a baby will have something underneath, like a body or a baby grow. So that's why I've gone with it. My third whip is just started. It is another pair of mittens. These are, again, going to be identical to the mittens I showed at the start and the pair that I described. The difference with these are they are not held with mohair. They are held with a sock yarn held double. And they're in this really cute hand-dyed yarn from an Etsy store called Molten Yarns. I don't know if Molten Yarns are still available. I tried to look for them recently and couldn't find them anywhere. I think the Etsy shop is closed. This was on sale. It was a one-off colour play. This is called colour play number 4. It's your standard 4-ply sock yarn with a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. It's 400 meters per skein. And this is beautiful. It has some yellows in it. Well, I'd say it's a white yarn with yellow, with quite a lot of yellow in it. There is also flecks of pink and green. I've just cast on my normal amount of stitches with German twisted cast on, 1x1 twisted rib, and then I'll do the stockinette from there. These are for my grandma. The colour of yarn isn't something I would personally wear, but I showed it to her and she really loved it. So I said, of course, I would make her a little pair of mittens out of it. Short and sweet. That's my 3rd whip. So my final whip, I have to show you, well, it's not really a whip because it is going to get frogged. I'm not happy with it, but I thought I'd show you anyway. So the plan for this was to be a champagne cardigan by Petite Knit. There's nothing particularly wrong with it. This is the 3rd time I have tried to knit up this yarn combination. I'm not happy with the gauge in the fact that, I don't know how well you'll be able to see it on camera. You might not be able to see very well there. Yeah, you can kind of get an idea there. I just don't like how see-through it is. I think I think when I am to use this combination again, I need to go down a needle size. But the yarn, there's nothing particularly wrong with the yarn. I am holding Isager Alpaca 2 double Sannes Garntin Silk Mohair, the one that I showed you earlier, that off-white colour 1012. This colour that I am using at the moment is E0, and yeah, I'm holding it double with the mohair, and I am knitting on 4.5mm needles, but it's just not working for me. But I originally bought it to do some colour work with this beautiful forest green colour. It is called Forest. And when I originally bought the forest, I bought some mohair to go with it. I can't remember exactly what mohair it was. I think it might have been the tin silk mohair in a very dark green colour. But my issue with that mohair was the actual strand, the thread that holds the mohair, was bright white, and the mohair was like a really dark green. And when you knit it up, you could see like the flecks of white, and I didn't love that. So I decided not to use that mohair, and I've got some of this. This is knitting for Olive, slate green. And I don't have that problem with this yarn. It's a solid slate green, which I really love. And I think they will just go perfectly together. I don't know what I'm going to knit garment-wise with it. I've had a few issues with the champagne cardigan, and I think it's just the yarn choices I've picked. Also probably not being to gauge. Usually I can make it work, but maybe not for that pattern. And it's a lot of purling, so if I don't like it, I won't put loads of work into it and then decide if I'm going to frog it. I've decided quite early on. We will see what that's going to become, but yes, whip, soon to be not whip, soon to be frogged. So that is it for whips. I do have quite a few acquisitions to show you today. Most of them, not all of them, but most of them are drops, and most of them are drops Baby Merino and drops Kids Silk Mohair. Not Kids Silk Mohair. Yeah, Kids Silk Mohair. So I'm going to quickly run through the colours with you. As I mentioned, they were having a huge sale. I'm very happy with how drops knits up, and for the price of it, I like working with it. So I bought 2 balls of this color each. It's a beautiful plum color. It looks quite raspberry on screen. I'd say the mohair is obviously a bit darker, but it's not quite that bright. It's a little bit darker than that. It's similar to in between a wine and a plum, but really fun colors. I wouldn't usually knit in these colors, but I actually think that they look really cute with my skin tone, and I think they're a really cute winter color. Okay, so a quick battery change and we're back. Don't know how far we got into that, but yes, I think they're a really lovely winter color. And yes, I've got 2 balls of each. I have this combination in another color. I also got just 1 ball each of these 2. When I ordered these online, they did look a little bit closer to being similar, but I think these could knit up really cute and look a little bit mild. So I'm gonna give those a go. I don't have any future plans for these yarns. I got 5 balls of the Drops Kid Silk in black. The color is color 2. I have a grey yarn. Oh, it's called a black yarn, but it's, in my opinion, it's got quite a lot of grey in it, which I think could be really beautiful when held nicely with this. The other plan was to do some colour work, but I think it's just always really useful to have black mohair, and it was on sale. So 5 balls of that. Quickly, I forgot to tell you what colours these were. So this one is the Baby Mohair, Baby Merino in colour 41, and this is the Kid Silk Mohair in colour 17. This is the Kid Silk Mohair in colour 21, and this is the Baby Merino in colour 30. Okay, that is it for drops. You will be very happy to hear. I do have one more. I'm going to get to my favourite acquisition. This is something I hope to show you every month because I am part of a mystery yarn club. The Yarnside hand-dyed yarns are hand-dyed by a lovely lady called Nancy from the UK, and every month she puts out a surprise mystery club, and you don't know what you're getting until it arrives. So because it's a surprise, I'm going to be doing these acquisitions of this hand-dyed yarn a month behind, so that I don't spoil it for anybody, and these have already been shared on Nancy's Instagram. This is September's mini skein mystery club, and you get 1 mini skein of each. These are so beautiful. So this month's name are based on Nordic berries. So this is crowberry, and this is cloudberry. They are stunning. So they are paired together. But if you're like me and you collect them, I have about 6 months worth. I like to mix and match all the months together. The cloudberry is a beautiful orange with flecks of yellow in it. And the crowberry is beautiful dark navy blues all the way through to indigo. So they're stunning. And every month, Nancy sends out a little, I don't know what this is called, like a little menu where she tells you a little bit about each yarn and why she's picked them and about their background, which I think is so sweet. I have ordered 2 sets here, so I've got 4 skeins, 2 of each colour. And some months I order more, some months I order less. Yeah, so I actually got October's yesterday. Obviously, I'm not going to show you guys. They're beautiful. I ordered 4 sets. So I ordered 4 sets, so I've got 8 skeins, and I've managed to get 1 more because I quickly ran to my post box and went to see if she was still doing October, and she was. So I ordered one more. They are beautiful. I can't wait to show you next time. But so far for these, I have no idea what I'm going to do with them. I was thinking that this might be a cute entry into the make along for the tomato soup core theme. That I don't know everybody who's hosting it, but I know that High Fiber Knits Emily is one of the hosts. I know it's not your crazy bright tomato soup red, but those yellow and orange tomatoes blended together, I can just imagine. Beautiful. So that might become something. You get to pick either a DK or a 4-ply sock yarn. I almost always pick the 4-ply. This is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. You get 20 grams. Thank you, Nancy. So highly recommend if you're in the UK, and they are always beautiful, the combinations, even though you have no idea what colour you're getting. So that is it for my first podcast. I really hope you enjoyed it. I am planning to do them once a month. I think that could be a really good time period. I hope I have enough finished objects to show you to keep it interesting. If I don't, we will have to reconsider how often I do them, and maybe in between I do a project vlog. I will just see where this journey takes me, and please, if you have any suggestions or any questions, leave a comment below. I am just getting started with this and it's a new experience, but I think it's going to help me become a more intentional knitter, and I really look forward to being able to look back and see my knitting journey progress. If you would like to follow me on Instagram, I will be completely honest, I'm not very good at photographing my finished objects and posting them there. But you completely can. It's at Rebecca's Wild Side. I do plan to get better at photographing my finished objects, and I'm looking forward to seeing my first full autumn and winter season of knitting projects and how it goes. I would really love that if you enjoyed this episode to leave me a like and maybe a comment, and if you want to see more, feel free to subscribe. I am learning the ropes, and I guess you're going to come along with me as I learn. But thanks for watching, guys. I will see you next time. Bye.